Hello, welcome to Big Bang Radio Spotlights. This is a show where we talk to independent artists from all around the world all about their music and their process for making it. I'm your host, Isaac Anderson, and today I got to sit down with the band Foemen. Without any further ado, here's the interview. I think we should start at the beginning. I like to start at the beginning at all the interviews I talk with the artists with. And I wanted to ask you right out the gate, what is your first musical memory? And basically by that, I mean, what's the first thing that you remember that involves music?
I have probably a couple, but the main one, I had this toy as a kid, and it was shaped like a guitar, but it was just a cassette player, but it was for a child's toy. But I used to hold it like a guitar, and had these. I'm pretty sure they were my dad's, but the old retro '80s wraparound kind of sunglasses with the fluoro kind of colors and stuff, and I'd wear them and hold this tape recorder toy and pretend I was playing guitar when we would be listening to music. And I remember absolutely loving that, and actually getting a real acoustic guitar for a birthday present, and I didn't even want it. I just wanted the old tape thing because it looked cooler to me. I don't know why, but that was quite young, maybe 5 years old or something.
Heard that. All I saw when you said wrap around shades, I saw Jodie LaForge from Star Trek: The Next Generation. That's what I always think. But that's super awesome, dude. So kind of bouncing off of that, how did you exactly get started playing music?
I think I always, my dad would always take me to lots of different concerts as I was growing up, and I guess that I really enjoyed that. So I would play bits and pieces on and off over the years, but just for fun, really. I didn't really consider it to my main thing that I would do. I would just kind of dabble and have a bit of fun with some friends. But as I got a bit older, maybe closer to 17, 18, that's when I kind of felt oh, this is really fun playing in bands, and I guess enjoying that part of it. So from that perspective, probably when I really got into playing every day and having fun with a band as such, or writing songs, was probably a bit later, 17 or 18, I'd say.
Heard that, man. Awesome. By the way, were you raised in a musical family?
Not other than being really passionate about music. Not really. No. My parents don't play any instruments as such. My younger brother, he plays guitar really well, but other than that, no, not really. I was just more the influence of listening to music, I'd say.
Heard that. I'm always interested to hear kind of people's backgrounds, because sometimes that's everything that their family does. It's music, or sometimes their parents can't even play the radio, essentially. So it's always interesting to me. And also were you playing in lots of bands when you were growing up, or were you just kind of just writing music by yourself?
No, I played in quite a few bands. I several bands I would play with, a couple more serious than others. But eventually got to the point where I had a very sort of niche thing about how I wanted to create music and the way I enjoyed it. So it's easier obviously to do that by yourself than and it's more fair to myself to do that, I guess, and others. So, I guess I moved away from the band thing more to my solo type music. But one thing I do miss, I do enjoy playing shows with a band as such. It's a lot. I love the energy of everyone kind of connecting together. So I try to implement that still as much as I can.
Do you remember the first time that you hopped on stage and played live in front of people?
Yeah, I played. I remember playing at, it was, I guess, an opening for a store. So it wasn't exactly a stage as such, but it was in front of a crowd that I would consider my first main live show. And it was really, really good. It was really exciting. And I didn't know really. I guess at that stage I was very inexperienced with how it all kind of works, and so I was just trying to have fun with it, and I did. So I guess I would have been around the 17, 18-year-old type age. But yeah, it was good.
Heard that. Were you playing like cover songs, or like were you playing some of your own original stuff?
Oh, we were actually playing all original stuff. It was the first band I was in that we had written a whole like EP worth of music that we were later going to record. And when this was all happening, at the same time, there was a friend that was opening a store that said, "Oh, why don't you showcase your music at the store while I'm having the opening?" So it was just a good combination of things for that to happen. So yeah, it was all originals. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, man. It sounds like that creative juice kind of has been flowing in your mind for quite a long time. Which brings us to why we're here today to talk about your musical project, Foemen. So I guess we can hop right into that. How exactly did Foemen start?
It started. Myself and my wife had about a year off to travel, just mostly around Europe, but a little bit of America and Canada. And my wife and I were in a band previously to this trip, and we sort of just were having a bit of a break from music, and we're traveling. But can't help myself. Was kind of dabbling, writing some songs. She was kind of helping me a bit, and we got home from that trip about a bit over a year later, and I just realized I had a couple of things I was quite happy with, and thought, oh, maybe I should look at recording them properly and pushing them over the line a bit, and see what happens. And did an album worth of songs, and I was really happy and had a lot of fun with that, and thought, oh well, maybe I'll start a project out of it. And that's basically how the Foemen thing started. I think that's about right.
Heard that.
Yeah.
I like you mentioned the album. I was like your first album, and forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but Detritus City, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Am I totally butchering that?
No, that's pretty close. I think I say detritus. But,
detritus. That's way cooler than whatever I said, man. Come on, you gotta correct me.
But I just had this from that trip away. We obviously in Europe there's a lot of war history, so we which my wife and I were super interested in checking and being involved in seeing all the history to do with that. But it had quite an impact on us. I guess like the whole state of what happened, and it kind of influenced a bit of the music and I read somewhere, because I've always been the kind of 80s futuristic kind of synthy vibe. I like the idea of like if a post-apocalyptic world that's like kind of maybe like the Terminator or something like that. And I think I was reading, I can't recall what I was reading, but it said Detritus City in the blurb about a city. It might have been like 1984 or something like that. And I just thought, oh, what a name for trying to create like a new city called Detritus City. And it's like a rundown war zone, futuristic though, and that's how it came about, I guess.
Wonderful, man. Well, I guess we can hop on to kind of your sound too, because you mentioned you're inspired heavily by kind of like the '80s like synth stuff, and your music has like, for anybody that's heard your music, it's kind of got this like dark kind of almost like futuristic apocalyptic kind of vibe, while also having like these really smooth melodies kind of all going on around this synthesizer based music type of thing. How exactly did you go about crafting that sound? Is it something that you kind of set out to say, I really want to make music in this style or genre, or is it just like, I'm just going to write whatever and whatever comes out, comes out?
That's a good question. I'd like to think that I had a really specific thing I was trying to get out, but in saying that, I still feel like I have quite a bit of trial and error to get to certain spots. So a bit of both, I think. But mainly I did really Blade Runner, The Terminator, and film, like in general, where there's like really strong vibes and like not so much, I guess, dialogue. It's more like about the feel. I really enjoy that. So I wanted to do something of that nature, but try and put, like you said, put the vocal melodies over the top, a bit of softness there, like to make it more of a song structure, I guess. So I was hoping to somehow fuse that together and make it work somehow. So hopefully it did.
So did you track that yourself? Or did you go to a studio?
I have a really good friend who is a very professional and awesome producer, and he tracked it with me at his studio in Sydney. But a lot of the equipment that you see around was the stuff that we used, though, and I probably did some of it here at home in my I guess it's a studio. So I wouldn't call it a studio, but my room of gear that I stuff around with. But my friend Dave Hammer, his name is. He's producer based in Sydney and a really good friend. So he helped me out and kind of adds his beautiful touch to it. So that's how that happened. Really.
Well, we'll hop on to the show train real quick. Obviously, you have a pretty good repertoire of playing some live shows. You mentioned earlier in the interview, you've kind of traveled all around. You've been, over here to where I am in the U.S. You've been to Canada. You've been to Europe. What is one of your most memorable shows? This could either be good or bad.
You know what? Probably just here in Newcastle. I was supporting a band, Busika, and I managed to put together a band for the show, so I didn't, because I play in a few different dynamics depending on, whether I can get people to play the instruments for me, and I can be freed up to sing. Usually, that's my favorite, I think. So I managed to get that dynamic, and I was singing, and I was kind of in the zone, had a lot of energy, and I was jumping around, and I tripped on, I still don't really know what it was, but I tripped on something and did this like weird twirl thing and fully fell like flat on the ground. And I guess performing in front of a lot of people, I just tried to make it part of my act, and I did this like kind of flick like the worm kind of thing to push me back up, and it looked like everyone was like, "How did you do that? That was like amazing. That was like incredible move." And I fully didn't know what I was doing. It was just winging it, and it turned out to be like a signature kind of dance move, I guess. I don't know. I haven't been able to do it again. So
so now you got to do it every show, dude. Now you got to do the worm thing every single night, all because of that. Yeah. It always starts somewhere. It's like Angus Young wearing the schoolboy outfit. Like, it was a joke, and now he has to do it every night. But
totally, yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. So I think it's time we talk about your latest single, which is Bones. And I was listening to this a little earlier in my studio monitors. It's got a really nice rhythmic feel, and it's got some really great lyrics. What is that song about? And maybe how was the songwriting process and the recording process of that?
Songwriting process I did with my producer Dave Hammer. We just kind of had a loop, which is the initial kind of arpeggiator you hear at the start of the song, and just kind of built off that. And I just at the time got a Model D, a Moog Model D, and we were watching a clip of Mike Dean performing with it at the Moog Studios, and he was just making it sound incredible. So I got really interested in just trying to make this amazing instrument just do so much, which it features in, I guess, the song quite a bit, like where we've blended harmonies from that together, and also had another Moog instrument which I can show you. The D-Fam.
Oh, sick! Yeah.
Yeah. And Dave, my producer, just got it, and we dialed this in and made the drum beat out of this, basically. And it just sounded so good and so unique. Like, it just doesn't really sound like any other type of sampled drum machine or drum kit or drum whatever. It just kind of had a really original feel. So that helped a lot, like, kind of get the unique vibe that it had at the start. And I guess in terms of, we were talking about bones and the lyrics in the chorus about being buried in bones. Like, I think we said that about every way you can possibly say it. Like, am I buried with bones, in bones, your bones? Like, it's just like about the nature of people. I find, like, we're not honest all the time, sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for bad reasons, but like the idea of you're buried with bones, you're buried with your secrets, or you're buried with that type of thing to help or sometimes better yourself. It's just interesting, I find, the way people react in certain circumstances when it comes to that.
Wonderful. And that's really awesome. You can really hear that in your music, just all the different kind of nuances and different meanings that you have there. So I really enjoyed it, and I hope everybody that's listening, if you give it a listen, I hope you do enjoy it too. So obviously, right now, at the time we're filming this, the COVID-19 coronavirus thing has kind of hit the whole world, and we're all kind of stuck inside, and currently live shows aren't really a possibility, and it's a safety factor. But what's next for Foemen? Do you have any like new music that you're working on? When all this COVID-19 stuff ends, do you plan on maybe going on a tour or anything?
Yeah, for sure. I've got 4, maybe 5 songs ready to release that, and probably another song very soon, like in the next couple of months. And it's also got a video, and I hope to release the rest of these songs that I've got probably not long after. I'll be working on new music on top of that, and of course, when all this craziness is over, I plan to definitely tour a bit. I am missing live shows quite a bit, so I hope I can do lots of that very soon when all this is over, I guess.
And we hope you do too. And if you come by the States, please come by North Carolina, man. We would love to see you. And also, I love the whole aesthetic that you have. We didn't really touch on this whole lot in the interview that we basically just kind of went through. But I love like the way that you dress. I love the way that you can like have like a persona. It's almost like a David Bowie kind of like a thing. I got a lot of those vibes from you. But you really put on like a show like for people to see. Like and you really do put a whole lot into it. I think you'd be really awesome to see live. So.
Oh, great. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I guess like I said, I think I really like, sometimes I think more than, the songwriting, I like film and vibes and that type of, how you perceive something. It doesn't exactly have to be real straightforward. So, yeah, I really appreciate that, because I do. I enjoy like character design and, that type of thing.
Lovely, man. Well, if people want to keep up with what you're doing musically, how can people find you social media wise? Maybe like where to find you on Spotify or any streaming platforms?
Yeah, just the normal social media platforms. Spotify, Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, all that stuff. YouTube. I've got videos on YouTube, and let me know if you want me to put my music on anything else. I'm happy to do that too.
Well, wonderful, man. Well, look, thank you so much for being a part of this. We all appreciate it. Before we stop, I do want to ask you one more question. I end all my interviews like this. You mentioned you like film. Man, we're two birds of a feather right now because I'm a big movie buff. I've studied film for such a long time, and I actually have a movie show at Studio 67/89.1 FM called Big Bang Cinema that I host, and I also like the college that the school the college that the studio is attached to. I do a lot of teaching for screenwriting for students. So I ask all my guests before they leave, what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie? Yeah, it's a tough one. I'll tell you a movie I've always loved, or I always come back to, might be Gladiator. That I remember seeing that quite young and absolutely just being, blown away by everything in that, the music and the vibes in that. But, oh God, it's
This is always the toughest question for people. Like, I ask them everything personally about their music, and this is always the one that stumps them.
Yeah, Only God Forgives. I like that movie.
Ooh, goodness. Yeah. I don't think I've heard that from anybody. Not a whole lot of people know about that one. It's for anybody that's seen Drive. It's Nicholas Winding Refn's film, and it's kind of split down the middle, but it's really cool to find somebody that really likes it.
Yeah, that's super intense. That movie, I really like that one.
Thanks to Foemen for sitting down with me and talking all about his music. If you guys want to see more interviews just like this, you can go to facebook.com/Studio67NCC, youtube.com/NashComCollege, or you can find us on Instagram at Studio67NCC. Thank you all for watching. I'm Isaac Anderson, and until next time, stay lovely.